Hi everyone, my name's Danny Heath and I'm the founder of YourGamePlan. It's great to be part of the Engineer Your Career event today. I'm sure you've had a really good day so far of learning and I'm sure there'll be brilliant sessions post this for you to keep you engaged moving forward. We wanted to take some time today to talk to you about soft skills and employability skills, particularly 5 that we feel are the most important, and give you a bit of insight and advice on how to further hone those skills. My colleague Emma is here with me today, so she's going to talk you through our top 5 soft skills from your game plan, and then I'll come back after to talk to you about how you can utilise our platform to further hone those skills. So over to you, Emma.
Thank you, Danny. So today, the 5 top skills we will be talking about today are communication, emotional intelligence, resilience, presentation and public speaking, and work etiquette. To start, I'll talk a bit about communication. Communication is a really important soft skill, and soft skills are really important as they are transferable skills that are used in all careers and can be transferred from every job you have throughout your career. That's why they're important to hone while you're young and important to get you on kickstart your career. So first of all, communication is so important in both terms of writing in emails as well as speaking in meetings or presentations. It's important to monitor your body language in terms of how you're sitting can really portray the way you come across in different settings, and that should vary between whether it's a casual meeting or a more formal presentation. It's also really important to communicate in a non-technical way in circumstances when you are speaking to non-experts. So for example, in engineering, you may be communicating with customers who will have no knowledge of your field. So it's really important that you are able to speak in layman's terms, so in non-technical terms, and portray your point across in a clear manner. This is particularly important in current times as communication has really changed. Now it's over Zoom or over email. You have to be able to be much clearer in the way you communicate because there's much bigger risk of miscommunication when you're not in person with other people and you can't just ask someone a quick question. You need to be really honing your communication skills. So Google, for example, cites communication as one of their top skills for both potential and current employees to have as prerequisites entering the company. And another survey of 260 employers by the non-profit organisation National Association of Colleges and Employers, which includes people like Chevron and IBM. They also rank communication in the top 3 most sought after skills by job recruiters. So communication is super important for your journey in whether it's engineering or whatever route you intend to take. The next soft skill we're going to talk about is emotional intelligence, and we've outlined this in 3 key aspects. This is being able to recognize and manage your own emotions as well as others. So being able to understand when someone needs your help or whether it's you need to respect them in a certain way. The second aspect is handling interpersonal relationships. So this is whether you're dealing with a customer or your manager, your relationship to them will be differently. So the way you behave around them will be different. And thirdly, it's respecting others and resolving disagreements. In your work life, there's likely to be knockbacks and disagreements. So it's important that you're able to take on board other people's opinions or disagreements with you and not get personally impacted about them and resolve them in a mature manner. Talent Smart have done some research and shown that emotional intelligence is a crucial factor for success in the workplace, and findings have revealed that people with average IQs outperform those with the highest IQs 70% of the time in terms of emotional intelligence. So it's important to highlight that grades aren't the only important thing when entering the workplace. and that being able to have other skills from other opportunities or other parts of your life are important. It's important that you can emotionally kind of connect with your colleagues and behave in a certain way that's respectful and taking their views on board. So the next skill is resilience. And when we talk about resilience, we talk about being able to take on board criticism and take on board any feedback you receive in the workplace and deal with any conflicts you may have with other employees. It's also important that you're able to manage your stress levels and manage a good work-life balance. This is really important, particularly in current times when you're likely to work at home. It's important to set out boundaries between where you're working and where your home space is. And it's really kind of highlighted in resilience is that when you are starting out on your career, you may have a lot of knockbacks. You may apply to hundreds of jobs and only hear back from 10 of them. It's important that you're able to be resilient and understand that that's all part of the journey and that it's not anything personal against you. It's just, unfortunately, part of starting your career is taking some knockbacks and making them build you up higher and succeeding in your career. So I've taken a quote here, which is from a social care company. So nothing to do with engineering, but I think the sentiment is really important in engineering careers or any career path you might take. And it says that prioritizing your own well-being is not selfish, but vital if you are going to be able to sustain best practice in these difficult times. So it's really important that you are able to go and speak to your teacher or a manager at work if you're having a tough time, or whether you need to take a break or have extra support in the workplace or in school. It's going to affect you more in the long term if you bury it away and pretend that everything's okay. So it's important to speak to your teacher or manager so that you can work better in your role. And the next key skill we're talking about is presentation and public speaking. Now, this is a huge part of any job. You're likely to have to present in any role you may take, whether you're in a sales role or whether you're doing analytical work. You will have to at some point present your work to other people, whether it's to one person or a whole team. You really need to, and this brings in parts of the communication skill to be able to communicate confidently in those presentations. So we've outlined kind of 4 key steps to a clear presentation. And that's firstly, to be as prepared as possible for a presentation. Secondly, to know your audience. This is to target your presentation to your audience. So for example, if you're speaking to customers, you need to adapt your presentation to them, or if you're speaking to colleagues who know much more about what you're talking about, you can be much more detailed about your presentation. Which leads me on to the tailor your presentation point. That's really important, that you're able to adapt a presentation to the circumstance. I think one of the main issues that people have presenting is that they go into a presentation expecting everyone to have the same idea as them or same knowledge as them, and it's really important that you take in consideration who you're speaking to. And finally, communicate with confidence. You need to be convincing when presenting to an audience. If not, they won't be able to believe what you're saying. So communicate with confidence. Even if you don't feel very confident, it's important to come across in a confident manner. So the final soft skill we're going to talk about today is work etiquette. And work etiquette is dependent on the office or environment you're working in. So the work etiquette is knowing how to conduct yourself in your workplace. This is going to vary a lot between what kind of environment it is, whether it's an office, whether it's a lab you're working in, you need to be able to behave in the correct way, especially when there are safety concerns in place, as there may be in an engineering career. You may be working with important substances or dangerous substances that you need to really be careful with. But when we're talking about an office or an office-based role, you need to know how to professionally email others in various circumstances. So if it's an external person from your business, you would likely email them in a different way as you may email someone you're close with and know more personally. So it's really important that you know how to behave appropriately in different office and work environments. And it's really important that you're able to consider others in the workplace. We have key courses at Your Game Plan that focus on each of the skills we have discussed today, and the key skills you'll learn about work etiquette relate to email etiquette and office etiquette, which explain to you how you behave at your office party, for example, which is really important that you don't behave inappropriately. And I've included a quote here that says that when you meet someone, you've got seconds to impress them. So when you're going into an interview or first entering the office, it's really important you conduct yourself in the correct way for that industry. And it's important that you research what that business is like so that you're appropriately dressed, appropriately kind of coming across in an appropriate manner that isn't rude or insensitive to that situation. And you can also explore all of our courses on things like interview skills, CVs, and that cover all of the topics we've spoken about today. We've got courses covering each of these topics that can really help you out and give you a bit more insight into what we've discussed in this presentation. So Google has cited that its key characteristics of success are fundamentally to do with human emotion and social skills, which should be nurtured, developed and celebrated as the key to future success. So it's really important that you're able to hone these soft skills, as that will give you a big head start in your career, and it will also help you moving from school into the workplace, as well as moving between different roles you may take within a business or moving into new roles in different businesses. So a study from a few years ago, it surveyed 198 employers in the UK and showed that employers prefer soft skills rather than technical knowledge for graduates they're recruiting. And this is not only going to be the case for graduates, it will also be important for school students. It's important to these employers that young people are good at communicating, a team player, confident and analytical, and have said that these are more important skills to have than technical knowledge. What they did say that further down the line, once they've worked in the job for a few years, then the technical knowledge is more important. But going into a new role, it's important that you're able to have these soft skills rather than the key kind of technical knowledge about the business, as that's something you will in turn learn at whatever role you have. And the Confederation of British Industry have also supported these findings. So what we can see is that it's really kind of more and more important over the last few years that these soft skills are honed, and that you're able to understand what they mean and learn more about them and not go into the workplace blind. I'll now pass you over to Danny, who's going to sum up what we've spoken about today.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much, Emma. It was a great presentation, and we really hope everyone in the audience found it useful. And also, please don't worry if you come out with that presentation with more questions than answers. We understand that for some of you, those skills would be new, and for even more of you, they're not skills that you've had a great chance to develop yet. So as Emma mentioned, we have access to 28 different soft skills and employability training videos on our site at www.yourgameplan.co.uk. All of those courses are accredited by the CPD, and after completing each course, you will receive a certificate of pass to use for your job search further into the future. Also as well, whilst we're in lockdown and schools are closed and potentially you're looking at ways to keep yourself busy, all of our platform is completely digital first, and you're able to complete it on any laptop, tablet, phone or other device. The best way to register is to either go onto the platform and click for students, and you can sign up independently and start doing the learning. Alternatively, you could speak to your teachers at school or university to see if your school is already registered to use the platform. And just a nod to any teachers that are watching, the platform is completely free for all schools as well. Thank you so much for your time. We hope you enjoy the rest of the event, and thank you very much to Campus Media for inviting us to come along.